We have some more developments from last week with Toys R Us.
But I don't want to grow up.
Apparently
you're gonna have to.
It's either you grow up or you die.
Yeah,
and Toys R Us is dying now.
As of last week, Toys R Us has officially filed for bankruptcy protection.
Right.
Chapter 11,
following alongside known retailers such as Payless Shoes and Radio Shack.
Chapter 11 or 7?
11. So this is a restructuring.
So, okay, for people who don't understand that, and I'm going to say this because it bugs me, I'm a business student, or not anymore, technically.
You're a business graduate. Yeah.
Okay, Chapter 11 is normal. People need to stop worrying about this as much as everybody thinks it is, because Chapter 11 is a normal process of a business getting to a point. If you go back and you look at just the history of different businesses, a lot of them have filed for Chapter 11. I understand that this is still a requirement, and they're in a dying industry, but this is the your hair's on fire moment from this internet generation. Okay? And yes, I'm talking about everybody who's looking at this.
The thing is, bankruptcy
has a negative connotation.
It does. It doesn't matter what kind of bankruptcy it is. People don't know the different types of bankruptcy unless they have been through it themselves or have to start researching it because they're going bankrupt. The thing about it is you hear a major retailer, probably one that's been around our entire lives.
Yeah, something like that.
Is going bankrupt. It is closing stores. It is cutting workforce. It is having problems keeping up with the overhead of running a big box brick and mortar store, especially when, we have major companies like Amazon breaking into brick and mortar from the outside.
That is going to hurt them. Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, and again, this is asking the internet to raise their hand, but I know out of the people here that's probably at this table, I can probably verify we've maybe gone to actual retail stores, I would say, in the last month, besides grocery stores and stuff like that. That doesn't count. But technology, toys, stores, that kind of stuff, I've been in 2 in the last month at most. Going into a store is becoming a way of the past.
Yeah.
And I mean, hell, I would avoid most stores if I could. Like, I had to go to the Apple store, and that bothered the crap out of me. I hate retail space now.
Retail space is something that has been dying. We saw like some of the first death throes of it, I was saying about 2008, 2009, when we had the first recession. And, you saw the computer stores like CompUSA go out, and we've seen some others too. The one, and this is what makes a lot of negative connotations, whether it's Chapter 11 or Chapter 7, is because people are put out of work.
I'll give you that. And if they pick... Oh, go ahead.
And with that, where Toys R Us is an iconic, been around for everything. It's like Sears bankruptcy. It's just like, oh my God, what's happened? But what's happened, they haven't said they're going to close any stores yet. I expect them to make it through the holiday season.
Oh yeah, that's going to revive them a bit.
And it's going to be February before they start closing stores. January, February is when they're going to announce store closures. Because they only have like a couple million in working capital. But some of the effects from this, since it was announced last week, is like GACC Specific, which is maker of Max toy trucks and Animal Baby Nursery. They've sounded a financial alarm, saying that they were expected to swing a loss this year as a result of the mega retailer's bankruptcy.
And that's echoing certain sentiments from not just GACC Specific, but Lego, Mattel, and Hasbro also relied on that retailer specifically for, according to last year, more than 10% of their total sales.
Right, and that's actually part of that thing that sucks about Chapter 11, and this is part of the problem with retail, and I think this is why retail is dying so hard, is because Chapter 11 allows you to kind of renegotiate your debt.
Yeah. And
basically reprioritize who gets paid first. So I'm not saying it's good. I've never meant to give that connotation of... that Chapter 11 or any bankruptcy is a good idea. I'm saying that it's happened a lot. And the problem is that we've gone from covering the ass end of the business for the people who supply them with product to now Chapter 11 is let's cover the shareholder first and then we'll get everybody else. And that's kind of what bugs me the most about any type of bankruptcy situations now.
It's like the investors are always the ones who
End up
get
winning.
They win. And so
just for you people out there, if you haven't clicked off already, the reason this is important to you, and I'm talking to the collectors out there, is because of names like Hasbro, Mattel, and Lego. That these are big lines. They create a lot of collections, things that people are picking up and trying to invest in, and you're going to see the price of these items affected because of this.
Yeah.
Or you're going to see profit loss, or you're going to see other detrimental things. It will have ripple things because
it could affect the value of items you've already purchased or items you plan on purchasing.
Right. Toys R Us currently owes $7.5 billion to basically the groups of toy makers that control basically everything. Mattel, they owe $136 million. Hasbro, they owe $60 million. Spin Master, they owe $33 million. Lego, $32 million. Radio Flyer, $12 million. And Crayola, $2.6. Basically, that is over 90% of the toys and collectibles and things for kids right there. Mm-hmm. Considering that's a lot of debt in unpaid receipts.
Oh, I agree.
To those people. And the thing is, that's why it's scary for Toys R Us, because this could have ripple effects. You know, just because Toys R Us lays off or can't pay some of this stuff, it may cause these other companies to lay off or cause certain toy brands to be shut down to help trim the fat. You know, that's like when Ford laid off, or not necessarily, they didn't lay off, they cut brands basically to help survive what happened with the automakers. You know, it's that sort of thing. And that's where it's scary.
So the other side of this, and this is kind of more of a darker kind of opportunistic kind of thing, is if you do have a location getting ready to shut down in your area, you know, you want to keep a close eye on it and probably be ready to line up, because I'm pretty sure there are going to be collectors around the block getting ready to pick at the remains and try to snap up some core deals from stores just trying to move their inventory before they have to package it all up and ship it back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, or it gets fire sold off, and you know, it's like that's the thing. Is like when a big box store like this, you know, potentially goes out of business, it affects across the industry. You know, I don't know, Mr. Businessman, what do you think?
I just think that, I mean, as much as this sucks, it has become something that the industry has gotten used to. I don't like the restructuring of how a business is required for bankruptcy lately with the Chapter 11. I honestly think it should all have to go to the debt first. If you're gonna realign your debt and get everything done, you shouldn't write off that. You should be writing off other pieces. But then they're like, well, that'll tank the business. But honestly, with all the fat cats that are out there anyways, just making extra money off of this, off of the blood that seeps from the wounds of these businesses.
The ever-present and villainous toy baron.
Well, not even just the toy baron. I'm talking about just everybody.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, the ripple effect goes out there. And so, it sucks. I hope they survive. I hope they don't turn into a Radio Shack issue.
I think they will. In my view, what it was going on here is we're noticing a shift in the current landscape of the world, and I think retail businesses, especially big businesses like Toys R Us and them, are really going to have to restructure in a sense and make the shopping experience more specialized. It's no longer about that's the only place you can go to get a thing. Now they actually have to make it where if you go to this place, you're going it's like going to an FAO Schwartz. Mm-hmm. I've only been to one in my lifetime. I will remember going to that place till the day I die, because it felt like I was 20 years younger when I walked into the place. I mean, it was huge. It felt like a theme park. It had, you know, every single toy you could think of. If you couldn't find it, you just had to ask, and somebody would lead you to where it was. They had like 3 levels, and it was all very open, and it just felt like walking into a toy store from back in the day.
But how many FAO Schwartz are there in the United States?
Not a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the kick: is the reason why small retail business is actually still working and large retail business is not, is because of the pure factor of that per foot radius kind of situation. We don't need mega stores anymore. Mega stores are being phased out because of the online industry.
But the online industry is arguably a mega store in itself.
It is, but it's a store you don't have to ever put your foot inside of.
Well, here's the thing with Toys R Us in particular. It's like I remember going to it as a kid, and it was awesome. And I remember it was still pretty cool going to it over time. I think they've not learned how to adapt to the dynamic retail shift recently because their prices are too high online. Their carts shopping's kind of sucky. They don't have any in-house brands like Best Buy does, like Insignia, to help bolster products, or Costco has the Kirkland brand. And then on top of it, the experience nowadays in the store is sad and sucks.
Okay, so I've been to Toys R Us in the past 6 months. I will put that up there. It's actually, I went last month. Mm-hmm. That place is dead.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I understand even during Christmas time and stuff like that. I wanted to find a Nintendo Switch for a while. So I started calling everywhere and could not find it anywhere. And that's one of those reasons that I think that retail is failing. But when Christmas and everybody else, and that kind of stuff comes around, that's when those businesses really flourish, is because they have it now. Mm-hmm. We've lost the sense of, I need it right now, today.
Well, that's because Amazon allows you to get it right now, today.
Well, tomorrow.
In some cases, yeah, you can get same day or next day delivery in certain ways. But even then, the online market is starting to break into that Black Friday holiday sales kind of thing, right, with Cyber Monday and basically having sales and deals alongside or even better than the stuff you can get from the brick and mortar stores. If you're willing to just put up with it and wait. And that puts a heavy strain on the shipping industry, but they have actually expanded to accommodate that kind of thing.
Well, they love that. They're like, wait, we're not dying anymore?
Yeah. It's like people are actually using the postal service.
Yeah.
Yeah, that brings up a whole different argument because with the Postal Service and Amazon.
That's another one we could go on for hours with.
But the store experience from a consumer kind of sucks. I mean, it's like the Toys R Us and Baby R Us have been merged together. The toys that are getting put in there don't seem as cool as they used to be. There's just...
I'm old manning it at this point, man. It gets to the point where I walk into a toy store and I'm like, none of this stuff is appealing.
Yeah.
The last time I was in a Toys R Us, I went with him, and that was because I had just come to terms. I'd been hearing about him being a collector. I'd seen his collection. He has a rather extensive one: Transformers, Star Wars, that kind of thing. And I was interested in how a collector would browse a store like Toys R Us. So I went to Toys R Us with him on a lark. And yes, you were right. It was dead. It was kind of a disheartening experience, especially because I wasn't looking at the things the same way he was looking at them. Pointing at Harrison here for those audio listeners. And the stuff that I would find myself looking for is like board games, or I browsed through their pitiful electronics, and it was like I could get 10 times better for 10 times cheaper online.
Yeah.
And I totally concur. But like I said, the time I've seen that places, the brick and mortar that's actually holding up still is the holiday season. I
do say that, yeah, they would survive, if they can continue doing a holiday season. But once again, I say that it needs to really be, they either need to specialize or kind of concatenate and not just be as specialized. So either they all gather together in like one big box, like a Walmart or a Target or something like that, and then they just do like, here's the Toys R Us side, and here's the shoe side, and here's wherever else is sporting goods and stuff like that.
They need to invest in extra dimensional space.
Yeah, certainly.
Because if you could expand the store for 6 months and then retract it back after the holiday season, that would totally make more sense. And
that almost makes sense. It's kind of like what the Halloween stores do.
Yeah, Halloween stores do that.
Crop up in whatever space is available and then go away because it's no longer the season.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying, is if they were more specialized and more about this is the season when people are actually looking for this kind of stuff, as opposed to trying to offer this stuff year-round and losing money for all the time that they're open and nobody's buying anything.
Like, yeah, I mean, yeah. I would imagine that, like, the Toys R Us near us is a really big store. It's quite large. They could probably do half of the size of that store.
And they've been there for years.
I know.
Yeah.
They've been there since the mall was first, like, put up.
Was a mall, yeah. So yeah, that's just my view on it, and it sucks to hear it because yes, I was at one point feasibly a Toys R Us kid.
Yeah, back when you could actually play the video games in the store and you could touch things and it wasn't all locked behind everything. And the games were fair price against everything else.
And it wasn't made out of crap material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
they don't make stuff like they used to.
Or they had the Toys R Us shopping sprees.
They don't make stuff like they used to.
But I think it's about time we move on. Moving on.
So, okay, I gotta beat a cat.
He's going to go beat some pussy.
C: enter: pound.
Yeah. He didn't tell you that joke, did he? The one that, because I had a perfect callback